can ride on out up to the morning. As long as we make the show, we can be the best or we can be the worst. We can be the best thing you ever heard. With the motor singing and the grandstands ringing, it's hard to put it all in words. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We are high, wild, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. Out on the dirt ovals we play, life in the bright lights with no shade. So letting her go, letting her rip, letting her fly, tossing her in sideways, living the life, letting her ride, outside winning to die. Cross her up on the cushion, crossing the line, cause some drama and some bullshit they didn't like. And if they don't like the move, then we're ready to fly. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We are high, wild, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. This is how we roll. This is how we do. It's not for everybody but the chosen few. And we pray, cause we know that they might not ever come back. But this
Well,
is how we ride.
hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here, we are live, and we are in a new scene. Same old hair. Look at the flockles. What do you even call that? What do you even call that? It looks like a bird. It looks like a bird. It does. It literally does. The wings here. Flocking. In the wings. We are here. I'm actually from Texas. Yes. We are sitting here live on the YouTube page, the Chaz here. And there's been a bunch of things happen. Now, the one thing that seems to have come, of course, for those who aren't aware of the world in dirt track racing, one of the biggest hits, like I said prior to the race itself when it occurred, one of the biggest impactful, detrimental things happened to the roster of the sprint car community, and that was Kyle Larson absolutely dominated your ass. And that's really sad, really bad. The world already sees this as a 6-on-6 second rate group of players on the field. They already see it as arena football in this NFL of racing situation. And they think that every one of your asses that straps into one of those sprint cars failed in the magical world of trying to get to the level of NASCAR. They just think that you weren't good enough. Tryouts just didn't go well for you. That's what they think. To society, not the racing world. No, nobody in this little bitty miniature, small, baby-sized miniature world thinks that, hopefully. But society that pays all the bills of this racing world, technically, they think that. And that's why, in my opinion, when I've done my research, that's why the society of dirt track racing doesn't get paid enough because of the irrelevance of the sport. You can't build when they had Bristol, they didn't fill the stands. Kenny Wallace said it best. You had the greatest super late model drivers in the world. You couldn't fill Bristol because society doesn't view you as worth fill in Bristol. We are America. We don't show up for Robins. We don't show up for G League. We don't show up for all these other second-rate divisions of sports. We don't fill out arenas for Robin. We fill out arenas for the NFL. We fill out arenas for the NBA, the NHL. The number one honchos, the cream. Now, in these other examples I just named off, NFL, NBA, MLB, whatever you want to say, there's actual talent is what matters as to who's on those damn stages. Now, that's not the case in motorsports because of the motor that costs money. But, once again, society don't know that. People in racing might. People in racing even defend it because they were lucky enough and they were selected by the few to go up and play on their stage and benefited a lot of money in playing on that stage. And on that stage, they were promoted as the best, as above everyone else. So they like to defend that notion because it's made themselves a great career and a great life. So when I say it's detrimental that Kyle Larson came over and kicked your ass, it's not necessarily because Kyle Larson isn't capable of kicking your ass. It's not necessarily because of that. It's because when Kyle Larson kicks your ass, everybody else just basically says so. Duh. You know, the only thing that I think needs to be a little more promoted, obviously Kyle Larson went in's promoted out the butt crack. The one thing that needs to be promoted is when he gets his ass beat, because it gives relevancy to our drivers. Because then that's the shock factor. You notice how, you know, some of these bigger time media entities will cover when a Larson wins or something like that, or when Kyle Busch performs in a micro sprint. But when they get out there and like Larson in 10th or 11th in a late model and Kyle Busch and B Mains and or any of these people, they don't really cover it because it destroys that structure that they have created, that they are the Batman division, and all these people down here in this dirt world are a bunch of fucking Robins. We're just the fucking AAA. Okay? So that is why it sucks, in my opinion, why I think it's so detrimental to the sport of sprint car racing and dirt track racing, sprint car racing in particular, because it's happening to y'all right now. Late model racing pretty much handles Larson pretty damn good right now. Except when it gets on the cushion and you drive that shit like a sprint car and they can't keep up with them because he's used to running a lip like you just can't do in those cars. The forces are just different. Talked to a lot of people about that. They completely agree. But in sprint car racing, this is a very detrimental hit. In my opinion. But I don't think I need an apology for that opinion. In fact, having personal conversations with the people I'm talking about right now, I'm not going to speak for them. They agree as well. So, and it's funny, apologies needed. You know, I talk about some people on here that I'm not necessarily going to throw under the bus that are in very prominent positions. And we are in agreement off the camera. And I can get on here and I feel like as long as I have permission to talk about them in the way that I do with the person I'm talking about, that all you people that ain't in it and don't get it, y'all can be as mad as you want for not being in on the joke or in on the discussion or in the understanding of the scenario or the agreements. Now, some people can't come on here and say what I'm saying right now. So don't shoot the messenger. But anyway, the greatest example of what I'm talking about is this comment, because there's somebody I think on the interwebs right now that definitely needs Kyle Larson owes him an apology, but they did use stats to make their point. But along the same lines of what I'm talking about, let me get this page up for you. I was tagged in this on Twitter. Funny, we got a baseball guy right there. Was just kind of referencing the baseball scenario on how we're all, you know, just labeled as AAA players. And that's why you don't get that mainstream attention. That's why you won't get that mainstream money. That's why they don't set lines in Vegas. Well, and it's disorganized. Sorry. When I said that, you know, I hear Jeremy Elliott in my ear saying it's because it's just pro-am. They just do some things amateur, you know, and sometimes people laugh at amateur ways of doing things. And there's sometimes I'm caught and it's true. There is some truth to that. So this is underneath the World of Outlaws posting of Kyle Larson dominating, leading all 50 laps. And this is the comment that I was tagged in. And this is something that what normal people think. How do this person, Jared Stacy, said, how do dirt track fans find this exciting? We watch races all year, and this is who wins the race of the year. He comes in as a top-tier driver with top-tier equipment. Of course he will do well, and it didn't help that he caught every break needed. Now, that's not really a horrible comment, is it? I mean, apparently he's got some opinions of Kyle Larson after tagging him in something, but regardless, somebody came in here, the Pit Report podcast, and said, so you are saying the other 23 guys that started the race aren't top tier. And he says, compared to Larson, I am saying that for sure. Now, here's where I'm going to stop before I get into the replies. So, we have established right here in this communication with person from real world that Kyle Larson is a top-tier driver, and that in comparison to Kyle Larson, the 23 other drivers that he's racing against are not. So, I would almost bet, back to this AAA pro deal, y'all are just little kids, and the pros is this entity out there. Begins with the N and ends with the R, and I ain't talking about the word that was said during an iRacing video game. Although, compared to Larson, I'm for sure saying that. So, I would almost bet that if you propose this question, or this question wouldn't even be a question or a topic if we were talking about a field in NASCAR. And that's where the issue comes with me. And I see this, what this guy is saying, compared to Larson, I'm sure that I'm saying that for sure. I see this all the time where people can have debates on if Larson or Chase Elliott are equal, or who could be better, or Denny Hamlin, or any one of these NASCAR Cups, Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski's, I mean, Joey Logano's, you just name down the list of the NASCAR drivers. And in these conversations where they're comparing Larson to those NASCAR Cup Series drivers, they're comparing them on a fair level. They're comparing them as they are top tier, as they are worthy of being in the conversation as just as good as Kyle Larson behind the wheel of the race car in their said division. Now, for some reason, and not me, I've been fighting it, the fans of dirt track racing have been supporting this guy. And this is why when y'all put him on a pedestal and say all the things that you say, you are supporting him saying that the other drivers are not top tier because you're putting him on that other pedestal. And then you watch NASCAR on Sunday and they beat him here with their little NASCAR cars, and because the NASCAR cars, the car controls the driver more than the driver controls the car. Definitely not as equal of a playing field, even with their new next-gen car. But and equipment does matter on dirt. Let's not scapegoat that as well. There's only a few good combinations, so maybe it's a little bit more equal, as far as said situation. But nobody's viewing these other guys in dirt as top tier talents. You can't have a conversation rationally with somebody on Larson versus even a gravel, according to this guy. Larson versus a Schatz, or Larson versus a Schuhart, or Larson versus a Sheldon, or somebody even new that's on a Larson versus a Buddy Kofoid. Oh, you can't compare him to that because he went to trucks and he didn't go up to Cup. He didn't make it to the NASCAR. That's what you hear all the time. Well, they had their shot in NASCAR. How can you say he's any better? Why does that define how good somebody is? A top-tier professional of a sprint car. And why the hell is it so much more glamorous or more of a bigger difficult task to drive a damn 750, sometimes 550 horsepower sticker sedan V8 supercar around a damn asphalt track for 4 hours straight versus wheeling a 1,950 horsepower sprint car on a icy fucking rink with a cushion right up next to the wall or floating around the bottom, toting with some tractor tires. To me, if you could a top tier sprint car or even a dirt late model, you're doing something that's worlds more difficult than what they are doing on the Sunday screen. But the society and our fan base don't understand how they're supporting diminishing that ability. And I wish more people would wake up to this, because this is what people feel and think. And this is what society feels and thinks. And that's why we can't fill up Bristol, because we don't got the respect by society. And then we have scenarios like this that our own fan base supports. No, we are just lower. Now, the trick of the trade here is that Kyle Larson is really badass. And also the trick of the trade here is Kyle Larson is a sprint car driver. Society don't understand what that means. But once again, NASCAR don't pull a 30-year-old out of a dirt track. They pull a 14 to 16-year-old out of a dirt track, because it institutes how dirt track racing is a qualified level, because that's where the qualification levels of college and high school sports and athletics are. So it's a good play on society to pull young kids out of dirt track racing, because it reinstates that it is just that below level where people try out. You know, we're not even talking about the price to even be 14 to 16 in a supreme race car. So the trick of the trade is Kyle Larson is a top tier racer in a sprint car, and could be possibly a Steve Kinser of the sport, that because of the things I'm saying that's happened for 30 years in this industry, he can't stay racing sprint cars because it makes so much more money to go be a NASCAR racer. Now, if you watch my interview with Sammy Swindell, or you watch some of my documentations on payouts and things like that, they're 80s, 70s, 80s sprint car racer could make about the same as a NASCAR driver. And in fact, IndyCar racing was above that. IndyCar was the #1 racing organization in America. Payout and attention. They were above them all. NASCAR and World Outlaws were kind of down here. NASCAR was just a little segregated sport until, like Darrell Waltrip said, Jeff Gordon put them on the map. Or Co Trickle. Or what I'm talking about. But you don't want to listen. That's fine. You're wrapped up in idolization, because the icon changed. So you're defending your icon to the day of your death. And at the same time, the death of the sport is what you're trading with. And that's really sad. Bringing up IndyCar, though, I don't think I have to apologize to anything I'm saying right now. I don't hate Kyle Larson. I think Kyle Larson's a great guy. I think he's one of the best drivers out there. But I do see how the system uses him. And the system of how you use Kyle Larson's and Tony Stewart's and Jeff Gordon's and Casey Kane's over the years is how you get this guy saying this. 30 years ago, you never hear nobody say some shit like this. You know, and then they wanted to use Steve Kinser 7 races in a startup team. You can't do it. Straight from dirt cars to cup, and basically diminish the ability of a top-tier sprint car driver with an experimental team in 7 races from a dirt track. No ARCA, no truck, no nothing, no prep races, just straight into cup. Embarrass them in front of everybody. At the same time, Jeff Gordon was rising. Very good plan. I know some people have heard this before, but regardless, I don't think I have to apologize to this. I think it's great that Kyle Larson won. If we're just looking at the race and we're just watching dirt track and sprint car racing, and that's my only concern. But when you look at society, when you look at people, when you look at things, how things operate and how this business structure is going to grow or fall or stay in the B class level of the racing world, stuff like this is impactful. Beating Larson is really important. That's why I was slamming the desk the other day on my live, saying you have to get up there. You got to beat this guy for the sake of the damn sport, because it is that important. Some of you are just so caught up in the show. But maybe one day you will listen. I mean, I'm giving you evidence. I can go find a bunch of people talking just like this. It's not out of line. I mean, I've been trying to tell you people this is what society thinks of those running the World of Outlaws, etc., etc. They are all viewed as second-class drivers, even though in reality, Larson is the only, I should have said, Bell, maybe, driver that could have finished within the D main. They know this, and they love it. They know that, the system at hand. Now, one person I do think that should apologize is this guy. Look at this. Now, unfortunately, this is when I start defending Kyle Larson, because I still think Kyle Larson is one of the greatest race car drivers in America. He could be up there with all time, although in racing, it's based on opportunity. So it's the greatest race car driver of all time versus the greatest race car we've ever got to see of all time. I still think that Dallin Murdy is the best stock car driver in the country. We didn't necessarily narrow it down on if we were talking about NASCAR or not. But this guy said during the IndyCar, we brought up IndyCar being the top, it's great that Kyle Larson, it's not only for some who don't know it, this is a 2-year gig here. He's going to be running the Indy 500 for 2 years. That's from a very good source. I don't think they posted it anywhere, but that's a very good source that this is a 2-year gig for Kyle Larson at the Indy 500. A lot of people speculate, why don't he go to F1? There's a super license situation, and he would have to basically go off and do some IMSA and do some F3. He would have to take a 5-year career hiatus to even attempt to go and race in Formula One. But this guy says maybe Larson should consider switching to IndyCar permanently. After 11 years in Cup and only 21 wins, he hasn't been what I would consider successful. Might be time he moved on from NASCAR while he's still relevantly young. Just a thought. Well, how about this, guys? How about what this guy is saying? 11 years in Cup, only 21 wins. What a pathetic stat, right? Just pathetic. Pathetic stat. Only 21 wins. I should have brought up the NASCAR wins list. I don't even think Clint Boyer and some of these guys even have over 10 or 12. And he says he wouldn't be what he would be considered successful. Might be time he moved on from NASCAR while he's still relatively young. So this guy thinks that Kyle Larson isn't NASCAR capable. He doesn't believe that he should be on the NASCAR schedule full time. He should go full time Indy. Not good enough for NASCAR. That's what this guy believes. Although I've documented once again that race cars in NASCAR, this is why I don't judge the careers on an asphalt track of Kenzer, of Brad Sweet, of any of these tried and failed dirt drivers in NASCAR. This is why I don't consider their resume or what they did as a valid example, and anything you do in NASCAR as a valid example of how good of a race car driver you are. Because when you go into a NASCAR race, you are on an asphalt track, and the quality of the race car is going to dictate how good that race car is actually going to perform. And when Kyle Larson, he was 6 years in the Ganassi car and only 6 wins. Sorry, we got a caller, but we don't really have callers on the show. But if somebody wants to call in, we could definitely set it up eventually. But not right now, unfortunately for you. But, sorry, the phone was just buzzing. They must love the show. The quality of the race car when you get on these asphalt tracks dictates your performance. Now, yes, you have to drive. There's limits that you can push a race car on asphalt before that thing goes around. There is a skill in pushing that asphalt car to its limits, because once you cross them, unlike on dirt where you just counter steer, grab the throttle and go, that's not the case on asphalt. There's a limit. If you pass it, the car's going in the wall, you're spinning out, you're wrecking. So there is skill in asphalt racing. But at the same time, the quality of that race car and how it rotates, how it fits the driver, it is very driver sensitive. You can't really manhandle a race car around a track like on dirt and outperform your equipment. Your equipment is really quintessential to your performance. And when this guy says 11 years in Cup with only 21 wins, I don't really see that as a big situation or a big deal. Because for 6 years, he was stuck in the 42 car. That was Class B, in my opinion. I mean, A-. I mean, Chip Ganassi, he tried, but they were still on some secondhand situations. Even, we referenced Kenny Wallace already, even when Kyle Larson went to Earnhardt Ganassi when that first deal got struck, he was upset about it because he said that car isn't capable for a talent like Kyle Larson. It's not going to let Kyle Larson be able to shine his capabilities. And that was the case. I really don't think Kyle Larson changed as far as skill from the moment that whole situation happened in 2020 to the moment he got into the 500 machine. because I think when he got into the 500 machine, he finally got into a car that matched his talent. And he started kicking ass and won championships. So this guy, y'all call me a troll. This guy is an official troll. But it is really good to point this out. 11 years in Cup and only 21 wins. He hasn't been what I would consider successful. And I think equipment has a lot to do with that. Obviously, this year, if you've watched any kind of NASCAR highlights, that's pretty much all you got to do in 2021 or 23 is watch NASCAR highlights. And see what's happened. Larson's kind of lost a few this year. That was out of his control. Kind of some douchebags out there on the racetrack, running him a little dirty. Because I think a lot of people know, and I think a lot of people are jealous and envious of how good Kyle Larson is. And there is yin for yang in that situation. Once again, give and take. A trick of the trade, however you want to say it. They're probably envious that Kyle Larson can jump into a sprint car that they know they can't even really take around a racetrack. I don't even know how many 410 sprint car owners would trust some of these guys that are wrecking Kyle to even run their car. That's the difficulty it takes to drive these sprint cars. And that's why I get really upset when people in society diminish it to a Class B, AAA level bullcrap, the non-top tier. The skill level it takes to wheel these 410 winged, or hell, I'd love to say non-winged, but these 410 winged sprint cars on a half-mile or 3/8 mile track when it goes glass slick and you got to put it up on the boards, the skill it takes to do that for one lap is unbelievable. So I do think that some of these other drivers out here in the NASCAR society, and probably even their fans, are envious and jealous of Kyle's ability. I do believe that that's the case, no matter how the system is using them in the ways that I've portrayed so far in this conversation. I do think that there are a lot of people envious and jealous in these other worlds, these asphalt worlds in particular, of the ability that he has. And I do think that a lot of people in the dirt world like Kyle because they like for him, it's almost like, it's sad, but they've manipulated you into using dirt as a college. Because Kyle comes from the dirt college, I'll cheer for him because I believe in my dirt college mind that he represents my form of motorsports. So when Kyle Larson goes up there and beats him, it's one for the dirt guys. It's one for the University of Alabama. It's one for our college. Once again, the psychology behind what's actually been implemented into your head. And in some realities that works, right? It does somewhat work. Does it change people not viewing the 23 other cars as not top tier talents in the A main at the Knoxville Nationals? Does it change that? No, it reinstills that. It supports that. But once again, yin and the yang, trick of the trade. It's a very intricate situation. But then you got guys like this who are just coming from an envious, jealous perspective overall. Because I've never crap talked Kyle Larson's ability. I just think that there's other drivers out there without Larson opportunities that could potentially do what he did. I mean, or do what he does. I mean, everybody could say he gets in all these different race cars and performs, but nobody else even gets to get in all these different race cars. Who and what are you talking about? That makes no sense to me. You're comparing him to no one. Racing is not other sports. It's not like you just go out there and pick up a basketball and shoot it. It's not like that. That's not how it goes. Not everybody even gets the chance. And some of the NASCAR drivers could have some wing sprint car 410 abilities. It's just it looks that hard and that extreme that they may be a little bit scared. It's not like they don't have the money to go buy it. What top performing NASCAR driver doesn't have the money to go purchase a 410 sprint car and give it a go every now and then he wants to? Let's try it out. It's the fact that it's scary and that it's that much difficult of a race car to drive. So some are envious, some aren't envious and jealous in those other realms. Some actually support what he does and are very complimentary. But I feel like I've seen some of the moves on the track this year in the NASCAR perspective with Kyle Larson. I feel like he's got screwed a few times. And I think a lot of those moves are coming from jealousy. They are jealous of what he's able to do out there with. They feel when they're next to Kyle on the track that they really just don't have the talent to keep up. So they got to use some other way. If that car isn't off and he's just having a bad day, if the wheel's in Kyle Larson's hand on a NASCAR Sunday and the car's halfway there, he's going to beat them all. And they all know that. He's on another level of talent. Why? Because he comes from this dirt world where the level of talent is higher than them, especially when you equate how many drivers and how many hitters are out here in this dirt track racing world across the sprint car, late model, heck, even your modifieds and all this stuff. The talent level, pool, and everything is just that much higher than NASCAR. It just is. So he's used to racing sharks. So when he gets over here and races with these farm-raised fish in the NASCAR world that are raised with their, little pellet food and silver spoons, he's going to destroy the masses. And they know it. They know it. I can explain this in more than one way, but that's what I think of this situation right here. Regardless, this is blasphemy. This whole comment situation over here in Twitter is what I think more people need to wake up to, and why I say what I say, and I don't apologize about it, because as much as I enjoy the talent that Kyle Larson is and enjoy even some domination on the stuff that he does, I still understand the effects of the sport that is actually being implemented on the general society outside of the racing world. And if you want to know how big the racing world actually is in America, the number one sport in America, I believe, is NASCAR. It sits at 5 million likes on fucking Facebook, and there's 350 million people in America. Like Kyle Larson said in his interview at Kokomo, racing's not that big of a sport. Even Kyle Larson can go down the road and, get some Burger King, and the drive-thru lady won't even know who the hell he is. And some of y'all people ain't woke up to that. I woke up to that a long time ago, and I'm trying to figure out why. Well, end of the day, even though this NASCAR thing loves to be on top of the American motorsport scene, back in the day, racing was more so served on a equal menu. You walked into the racing restaurant and you saw, ESPN Speed World, you saw stock cars, Indy cars, sprint cars, this, that, bikes, swamp buggies, blah, blah, blah. And if people walked in to see racing, if they didn't like NASCAR, well, hell, they'll like the damn Indy cars, or they'll like the drag racing, or they'll like this, that, or other. So we have race fans. Now in society, they walk into the racing restaurant in this world, they see NASCAR, and if they think NASCAR's fucking boring, they're out, because that's the only damn item menu of motorsports they see in their entire life most of the time, outside of the Indy 500 once a year. And that's why we don't have race fans anymore, because they're tired of being fed a shit sandwich for fucking 30 years. They don't get a taste of anything else. We do. And I could be biased about dirt racing all I want. There's some badass road racing out there. Nobody sees it. Badass IndyCar racing outside of a Sunday too. There's some good racing over there. Nobody sees this stuff. IndyCar is coming up a little bit. I mean, it was the top. It was the dominant force. But I'm telling you, that's the bigger issue as to why racing overall is down in the dumps, is because the normal American doesn't have any kind of variety or menus to pick from. If they don't like NASCAR, they just don't like racing. It judges the entire sport overall. And when they hear about this is where little kids get picked from. It's the college. It's the college form of motorsports. And if you don't believe me, read little old Jared's comment here. Top tiers. And all this shit. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I think on that scenario. And it's sad. It's sad. It's sad that that's how people get used and are taken around, and how the system works. It ain't always, the person that's on the stage's fault. Just like the BlackRock and the Vanguard. You can hate these politicians a lot, but they're being told they have to do it. They have to perform. They get the glamour and they get the heat too. I get the glamour and get the heat as well. I get on here and say what I say, but the price to pay is having this guy mad at you at the track, or that guy mad at you at the track, or I don't like him, or I don't like this, and this, that, and the other. I got to pay the price too. It's how it goes. That's just the situation at hand. Now, another thing that did happen today, obviously, for those who haven't been paying attention, I feel sorry for you, but Tanner Holmes did land the ride with the Shark Racing 1A. Tanner Holmes did land the ride with the Shark Racing 1A, and this was a big shocker to me. I just did an interview with Tanner, and obviously for those who had tuned into the channel, it was about an hour ago, I posted that interview from Knoxville. We had some pretty good discussions in that interview, so I didn't really want it to go to waste. It wasn't about this. This was kind of something that just came up here recently. Obviously, this is a very popular post situation. I mean, posted 6 hours ago. It's got 5,000 likes, almost 1,000 shares, over 1,000 comments on Facebook alone. So this is very popular. This is a popular move. As much as people have been caught up, and I've been involved in it as well, as much as people have been involved any kind of way with this Jacob Allen situation, it's one of those deals where everybody's like, okay, we hear you, but everybody's a race fan in this deal. Everybody's a fan. You know, I've heard that slang term to me. Oh, you're just a fan. Everybody in this whole thing, the racers, the series officials, the track promoter, everybody's started out as a fan. Everybody. You know, and the fans and the people of the sport, they want to see Jacob Allen racing. And it sucks what's happened lately. And I'm sure the 1A team, you know, trying to consume or digest Jacob's choice in this matter, have been trying to figure out, well, what can we do to bring in someone who could match Jacob's kind of personality that everybody had liked and was liking, a real bubbly guy and kind of, you know, a funny guy as well, had something to him. How do we replace that? And honestly, when it comes down to personalities, I mean, how could you get better than Tanner Holmes? I mean, this is a really good driver in this car now. You know, Tanner Holmes, as we talked in the interview, he's progressed a lot in 410 experience and drivability. He is from the island of the Sharks, which is that West Coast. You know, it's an island. It's out there on its own. But there are a lot of Sharks out there, a lot of aggression. You think about some of the great drivers that have come from that island of the West Coast. The Brad Sweets, the Carson Macedos, the Kyle Larson, the Rico Abreu. I mean, we could even go back to Jeff Gordon, although he didn't really stay around to dominate like these guys that are this listed have. But this West Coast, or Casey Kane even, this West Coast battle that Tanner Holmes has been under is extremely, extremely tough, extremely strong. It may not be on half miles, it's on little quarter miles, but you have to have a certain aggression on those quarter miles or you don't finish a race well, you know, and you got to be willing to hold your ground in those events also, because if you don't, as we discussed, you know, you'll get it roughed up a little bit too much. You got to always be willing to, you know, attack out there on the West Coast. And it's funny, I've been calling it an island with a bunch of Sharks, and now the announcement has came out today. I believe I even said it in the dang interview, but now the announcement has came out today that Tanner Holmes is going to Shark Racing. Now, this is going to be a very interesting situation, how it works out, how fast it goes. Apparently, they are going, I don't know if I mean, they're going to race the remainder of the 2023 racing season with the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, but I don't know what that means with the agreement. I think there was a few races that this 1A car actually had. I don't know how many of the 4 burn races that he had to stay, or the Shark Racing 1A had to stay on the platinum agreement. I believe they have a couple, actually. I have to research that just a little bit, but because I don't think Jacob Allen's actually ran a high limit race, because I remember going to Lakeside at the beginning of the year and he was in the stand side and I was asking why. He's like, oh, I was just wanting to chill, not race. But they are going to be debuting this combination at Huset Speedway with the high limit series. So that is going to be interesting. That is a short track. That is a West Coast situation. You know, Justin Sanders didn't really do amazing at the Knoxville Nationals, especially in the 410 portion. But this coming up, you know, Tuesday, tomorrow at Huset's, Justin Sanders is going to be a hitter because it's more in his wheelhouse. It's more in that short track, get up and go style. That's the short track, get up and go style that Tanner Holmes is used to. You know, believe it or not, even though the Dirt Cup and the Huset's High Banks Nationals is on the same weekend, you know, Skagit's probably the closest to a Huset's over there. Definitely not banked as much. Huset's is kind of its own animal, but fairly similar shape, fairly similar size. Huset's is, it feels like a really big quarter, you know, somewhere in there. But this is a really good track for this combo to debut. And then you think about it, Jackson, kind of flat, bigger track, you know, and Tanner's been doing some Ohio racing this year too, or previous year, and he's got on Knoxville a couple times now. So this could work out really well even at Jackson. You got River Cities coming up, and then the West Coast swing, which is what me and him were talking about outside of this deal coming through with Shark Racing. But you got the West Coast Swing, which is starting out at Skagit in Tanner Holmes' backyard. And even in the interview, I was talking about, you have a potential shot with how your momentum is swinging lately and how good you've been running in a 410. You have a potential shot to potentially win in his 18T car on that West Coast Swing. So with him going to be getting a few more weeks in a car with a crew and a crew chief and assistants leading up to that West Coast Swing, this could be a really good combination. And we're obviously going to get some access to Shark Racing that we haven't before. I'm assuming that Tanner Holmes is going to continue all of his vlog style YouTube stuff. And I mean, yeah, we've seen some behind scenes at Shark Racing, but not to the level that Tanner Holmes is going to be bringing to the table. And then you have to ask yourself, does that actually matter when they were selecting a driver? Well, obviously the YouTube stuff, I would say, did get Tanner Holmes on the map of people talking about him. In which way, who cares? But it definitely got people on the map of talking to him. The personable situation, the lines he's got at the racetrack are definitely, spurred off of that YouTube popularity that he was able to bring. And we also know how important the merchandise side of this sport is. And Shark Racing already does some badass t-shirts. And now you're going to add in one of the most, second biggest lines in the pitting area sometimes compared to Kyle. Usually it's Kyle and then Tanner Holmes behind in lines of t-shirts. And some people, I don't know why. Well, it's just because he's went to work. If anybody wants to say, oh, well, that's just lucky. Well, I mean, it took a lot of work to do all that YouTube stuff. I mean, it takes a lot of work to do what I do. I know the amount of work that it takes to put YouTube vlogs together. Anything you want to think of, the stuff he puts together takes a lot of work. So it's not like he just woke up and had somebody film him all day and did it all. It's like, no, he went out there and built all this stuff to even get in this position to be in the same sentence as getting the fill a seat of that 1A car. And now all that hard work has paid off. He has some decent results. He's backed it up with the racing a little bit because there's some YouTube people out there who do their YouTube, but they really can't drive that great. He luckily was able to build in front of everybody, build to a place where he is fast on the racetrack. And now he is where he is, getting into the 1A car. So I think this is a really good match. I think that this is going to be very interesting. The West Coast Swing definitely got very interesting. Tomorrow, Huset's High Banks has definitely upped in interest, I would say, because now you're throwing this in there. I was already very intrigued because you're going to have Justin Sanders in the building with a 39M car. That was going to definitely be interesting to see because they're on their, kind of last few races there. Sanders going to be in the car all the way through the Jackson Nationals. But now you got this Tanner Holmes 1A thing that the 1A situation was already kind of a big deal. And now you got 40-plus sprint cars going to be racing tomorrow night at Huset's. You got the debut of Tanner Holmes in the 1A car. I mean, you got a list of really good drivers up there in this region. I know some people don't get the recognition that they should up in this area of the country. But you're going to have a very, very intriguing race. Now, I mean, the first driver on the list, Tanner Holmes 1A. Who is not going to be... This is almost turned this Huset's race into must-see TV. Just this combination of driver. It definitely did not hurt it at all. You got Kadings coming. He always runs well at Huset. Zomer. Timms has always been good at Huset's. Madsen. Robbie Price, always a good short track racer from that same area as Tanner Holmes. Aaron Reitzel's got a real good history of performing well at Huset's. Chase Randall's been hot at Huset's this year. Obviously was the Rookie of the Year at the Knoxville Nationals. Casey Kane's won this year at Huset's. I mean, we even got down the first row. I mean, these are all contending drivers. Corey Eliason, contender. Justin Peck, obviously a high limit winner. Mark Dahlmeyer, can he bounce back? I think he's a threat any week, basically. I mean, anytime Mark Dahlmeyer can turn it on, he's like the Donnie Schatz up there. Corey Day, obviously Corey Day is amazing. He was really good when he came and ran earlier in the year at Huset's. Carson McCarl, Tim Essenson has been good. Had a big wreck out there, and hopefully, that'll get all smoothed out. That wreck was earlier in the year, but regardless, it just seems like ever since that hard wreck, things have been a little off. Maybe just need a little time off. We'll see. Brooke Tatnell, and then Brant O'Banion is back. Of course, we've been covering the Brant O'Banion Racing team. They got a motor, I believe, through the Zomer team. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. I know that they have an alliance there with Lasowski. Lasowski's helping Zomer, helping him. So I'm thinking they got an HP motor from the Zomer team. Once again, don't quote me, but it'd be very interesting to see how that motor does underneath the hood of Brant O'Banion. Apparently it's a hitter, so it'll be very interesting to see. Justin Sanders in the 39M for one of the final week, basically. Christopher Traum, I haven't got to talk about this Traum guy much, but he was really impressive to me last year at Cedar Lake. I believe he qualified top 10, very difficult racetrack, and I've always seen this guy have speed. He doesn't have the results really that much. I believe he has a Huset's win this year. When I say results, I'm thinking a high limit, national sprint car racing, more so series-based. But that Traum guy's always a threat, especially at Huset's. He's got a lot of laps there. Rico Abreu, obviously going to be a favorite. Caleb Johnson, sorry about that. Apparently that Caleb Henry 101 car, there was like some kind of fueling bill issue. I don't know what's going on there. They'll be very interesting. I'm sure you've seen it. Riley Goodnow, who's picked a win up at Huset's. Cole Macedo in the Tarleton 21T. Brady Bacon, going to be very interesting to see how he gets around Huset's. Obviously short track, slinger track. Noah Gass has been fast at Huset's before. Ryan Bickett. Your final row, Blake Hahn. You never know what Blake Hahn can do. Jack Dover. Jake Swanson in the 55. And Jack Dover, I don't even want to just skip over his name and just say it. I mean, it's Jack Dover. I mean, come on. Put some respect on his name. Put some respect. Kyle Larson. Don't know who that guy is. Anthony Macri in the 71 car. 83, Justin Henderson. 83H, Sam Henderson. And then Buddy Kofoid. I mean, obviously, this was a guy who, heartbroken at the Huset's High Banks Nationals, pretty much had it in the bank. And TRD put that undercover work on him. We all know why that 83 JR blew up. Undercover. Y'all seen Oppenheimer, right? Who was the enemy? Scott Boguski. It's Scott Boguski. And then Austin McCall, who is extremely fast. Beginning of the year, he almost set a new track record at Huset. So this is the tentative lineup. Obviously, it's possible that more cars could show up for this. That's why it says 40-plus sprint cars. And it's going to be interesting. So this automatically, because of the Tanner Holmes situation, I was already very intrigued because of Sanders, Brant O'Banion back with the motor, and then the list of other heavy hitters that are involved here. This is going to be a must-see event now. I really do think that there is a considerable amount of people who are followers of Tanner Holmes who may not like sprint car racing but are only watching it because they're followers of him. Sounds like a guy named Kyle. But they are now automatically going to tune into this just because they want to see their favorite driver on YouTube drive this new car, and it's on Flow, Where, How, When. So I think that's going to move the needle on this event and make it a little bit more must-see. It was kind of one of those races, I think a lot of people were like, oh, just get to Jackson. But now, because of all these things that have happened right now, I think this is a lot. There's just that much level of intrigue involved here. I can't wait to see what Brant O'Banion does with this hitter in the hood. I'm very intrigued. I think the guy's got a lot of talent, just ain't really got the equipment, working out of their shop 40 hours a week, doing it all on their own, building their own motors. I think that's something worth celebrating. And little guys need more hope in the sport, guys. We need more little guys. We need more regular people to have hope in the sport so we can get more car owners out there, get more cars on the track, spread the word, and let's try to work on more people buying sprint cars and less people buying boats. They cost about the same. There's a lot of money out there. We could have a lot more race cars, at least more car owners, if the sport was more relevant and respected. But we're just viewed as the Batmans or the Robins of the sport. Nobody wants to be a part of the Robins. No one wants to, be a part of the D-League and all this little crap. They want to be a part of something big. We want to be a part of the best. We could change this little perception of what this sport actually is and the drivers behind the wheels. We could have a hell of a lot more car owners, a hell of a lot more sponsors, a hell of a lot more of a better economic system. But anyway, that's what I think. Should we go to comments? These comments could be very, very nasty. I feel like these comments could be extremely, extremely nasty. Let's see here. We are pulling comments up on the screen. Yeah, somebody, I'm getting texted now. Yeah, somebody just blew me up wanting to call some guy, I guess. It was almost like it was CIA. You know, I mean, that's what I'm starting to believe here. Are you feeling okay? I'll be there tomorrow night. Carrie Rose says, man, I was able to get this zoomed in on the screen a little bit better. I used to have a nice chat block set up, but when my computer literally crashed, had to reset it all up. So now I have to do this all over again. It looks kind of crappy, but oh well. Carrie Rose says, I'll be there tomorrow night. If he wins 50 races in a year, then he can be mentioned along with Kyle. Until settle down. Oh my God. If you go along with the Chaz.com, there's a shirt called Larsonite. You should buy one. You should definitely buy one. Are you feeling okay, Chaz? This needs to be just a little smaller. Need to be able to see a few comments at a time. Are you feeling okay, Chaz? Yes, I'm feeling fine. One day, all you guys will do your homework and learn that the success of a driver in any racing series depends on who is turning the wrenches. Everybody who got in Carl Kinzer's, I'm assuming, car won. Very true. I mean, the minds of this sport are dictating a lot of things, just like the minds of the NASCAR industry is as well. So then let's start judging everybody's driving ability based on knowing that as well. You know, so I mean, I know what he's saying, and that's where the even though to buy equal equipment in the dirt track racing world is a lot easier than buying equal equipment in the NASCAR world per se, is there are a lot more professional minds available in the NASCAR industry. As far as top tier, like there's a lot of there's some top tier crew chiefs, people who have worked under crew chiefs for years that are ready to and have the knowledge to be a crew chief. And we do have a issue in that department to where we don't have the infrastructure in a lot of ways. In the mind game of this sport, because there's not a lot of young people getting involved with it at a young age, and they're not able to, learn things, and we don't have a good crop being grown right now of people who know what these cars are and how they work and the little tricks of the trade. And we do have an issue in comparison to like a NASCAR organization of a bunch of people who know how to make cars go fast around the racetrack. We have some, but they're few and far between. They are few and far between. So I could see what you're saying there. One of you guys are going to learn how, it's the people in the pits that are making these cars go just a little bit faster than the other guy. But it is an issue. I do agree with you to an extent. But there are a lot of sharings, and you can buy the same shocks as this guy and buy the same bars and all this stuff. It is very early 90s NASCAR-ish. And the separation of the two, I think, are coming up very soon. I think that very soon you're going to have a lot more people get injected into the sport. A lot more people are going to be interested in the sport. Hopefully we can keep some car chiefs around, because I'm hearing a bunch of guys leaving the sport. Clyde Knipp is going to be moving on. He's been a guy underneath Phil Dietz for years. That's a guy we need to make more situations there where a guy can move to a car and start running a team of his own. But there's just not enough money in the sport really to think of expanding like that. And I think that the foundation of that issue is all of what I've been discussing from the beginning. The awareness, the pumping of the money, the economics of the sport are not making it viable to do something like that. And it's all based on awareness, but it's a whole nother situation. I got to this party late. High Limit should be interesting. All Stars at Sellings Grove on Sunday. Could be a number of surprises there. Nice seeing you at Sellings Grove a few weeks ago. Thank you. It's nice to see you as well. I did go there. Don't see Brad Sweet's name on the list. No, Brad Sweet's not going to race. What is Holmes going to do with his family ride? Probably park it and save money. I'm a huge Macri fan, but for the High Limit, I'm looking at Sanders. That car is insane fast if he can keep it upright. Yeah, it is very fast, and especially on these shorter tracks, he's going to be a little bit better than Macri, I think. Especially on the shorter tracks, I give the edge to Macri on the bigger tracks just based on experience, but if you was to give Justin Sanders 3 or 4 months consistently on big tracks, I would start to slowly edge Sanders above Macri. I would love to see Sanders go to Port Royal for a few weeks or finish the year out in PA with a 39M car. I think that would be very interesting to see. Technically, one of the most popular drivers in Pennsylvania actually race in Pennsylvania, because Justin Sanders has yet to turn a lap. I agree with the aggression, but he really hasn't had the knowledge and support behind him at the races as he will get with the 1A. I have seen him be very aggressive when the car's right. And I think that aggressive you learn on the West Coast is something that you have to learn through racing. You can't, and you have to go and see it. Like, they are very sharp. Like, and that's why in the interview with Tanner Holmes, I said, sharks in the water, because they are extremely aggressive over there. And they are just and they're doing it since the outlaw carts over there, guys. You know, ever since Kyle Larson left and said getting an outlaw cart as a kid and a sprint car at 14 and 16, they have been doing it. And they are all trying to live up to that name that was left. And I'll tell you what, they're killing each other to get it done. They're trying really, really hard. And that West Coast aggression level is turned up. It truly, truly is. It is not easy to perform on the West Coast of the United States in sprint cars. And then you put them on short tracks. And then they're all on little bitty quarter miles and 3/8 like Petaluma. You know, there ain't no 4/10. I think Skagit's is a third. Willamette is up there at 3/8 as well. So it's just the style of racing that you were trained to do. It ain't big half-mile PAs and Lincoln being a short track. Lincoln's a big track. If you put Lincoln on the West Coast, it's probably one of the biggest tracks they go to. So it's just a different style of racing. Tanner should do well, but he will have to find another level of aggression. I don't think that will be the case. Tanner is driving the high-limit race in the 1A, yes. He also did really good last year at Gold Cup, was running second when he got a flat. Yes, we interviewed him, and I think Tanner Holmes has progressed in his ability since then to now a couple of notches. I think that this is going to be a really good combo performance-wise on the racetrack. Who is going to be hot this year during the West Coast swing? I would say pay attention to Sanders because he's going to be going back to the car he won the Dirt Cup with earlier in the year. I'd say you have to pay attention to Tanner Holmes now. You have to pay attention to Tanner Holmes. He's in a solidified race car. It's not just a family car and bouncing ideas off of what we should do with teams that hopefully you could trust that you're trying to beat on the racetrack. Now he's going to be with the team that actually is trying to win races, minds that are trying to win races. They obviously are going to listen. It seemed like Jacob Allen was very, easy to communicate with, and the team would listen to him. They're going to communicate with Tanner, I'm assuming, and have a mutual respect and appreciation for being able to bend onto what Tanner thinks that he needs. There may be some moments in there where they're like, no, drive the car like this, just go try it out. But I don't see really anyone in that 1A team being aggressive to be like I've heard other teams are and just tell these fuckers to get in the car and drive. You know, I don't think that's the treatment that, honestly, if anyone thinks that you could treat Tanner Holmes that way, that's not going to fly. And I think if any driver out there is getting treated that way, you should think about leaving as well. Me and Hunter Schoenberg touched on that subject actually, I think that was off camera. But I'm going to speak for him just a little bit here. If any of you drivers out there are getting motherfucked by your crew or your car owner, there's better things in life to do. And I don't think that was happening to Jacob Allen. I'm just saying, I don't think that they're going to have too much of an issue to where this is going to gel extremely well with this West Coast swing coming up, buddy. And I think Tanner Holmes, I'm almost willing to put him in the top 5 of the favorites on a weekly basis when they do this West Coast swing. I really am, because obviously if you went to the Chico race last year, you saw how Jacob Allen was right up there with Logan Schuchart. Shark Racing dominated the damn Gold Cup last year. And now you're going to put Tanner Holmes in the car. And I don't really know what to say. Is Tanner Holmes better than Jacob Allen? Tanner Holmes is full of potential, guys. There's nowhere to tell. Tanner Holmes could be Kyle Larson. Well, yeah, he could. He ain't got the same opportunities as Larson to be able to say that he's not as good as a Kyle Larson, but now he's going to get some opportunities on a grand stage, and we're about to find out what he's got. This is his tryouts for the professional levels of racing in America, in my opinion, the top level of circle track open wheel racing in America, and that is World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series racing. High Limit's getting there. If they merge with the All-Stars like everybody's telling me and I'm hearing, maybe that'll be a whole nother situation. We'll have our split series, and then they can, destroy sprint car racing like they did IndyCar racing back in the 90s. Go look up that. But anyway, NASCAR's the new age Formula One. Protects the asset. Regardless, I think that Tanner will be an interesting pick for the West Coast swing. Justin Sanders is going to be an interesting pick. You got a lot of locals over there. Jesse Schloemfelt that I covered last year, another local up there. He was really performing well. There's a lot of guys. You get up there, you got Jason Solwald, you got Trey Starks, you got these guys up there in the Northwest sector with Skagit and Grace Harbor. You get down to California, and then you just you can open the box as to who all's going to perform. Well, when Corey Day and everybody is on their home turf, the Kadings and, Selzy and all Tarleton Car. Now they're on their home turf. They've been coming out here and racing y'all in the Midwest all year because they took the spring swing away from the West Coast. And now you're going to come to their home place? Now you're going to come to their backyard? Buddy, it's hard to pick on that West Coast. It's deep. It's full of sharks, man. It's full of sharks. David put in the best show of the year. His crew put him in a fast ride, set up right, and he used every bit of it and only needed 1.5 laps more to take the money. David Gravel, I'm pretty sure that's what he's referring to. Coming from the back, of course, I picked David Gravel to win the Knoxville Nationals. I wasn't scared. 22nd to second for David. I think at the end of the day, what I take away from that Knoxville Nationals with the split and everything that we see with the laps in the race is what I'm talking about, the split. I think that the split for the Knoxville Nationals needs to change. Now, me just being an opinionated guy, that's what I can say. Hopefully nobody wants to shoot me or kill me because I have an opinion. But I don't think that the Knoxville Nationals should be a 25 lap race. And the reason I say that is in a 25 lap race at Knoxville, when the field is that damn close, it is almost impossible for the leader to get to traffic. And if you have one or if you have two cautions, the leader's never going to get to traffic. His clean air is never going to be taken away. And second place and on back has no chance in hell. It don't matter if it is Kyle Larson up front. If that's Donnie Schatz out front, if that's any of the top 10 competitors at the Knoxville Nationals who is out front there in that second half, if he don't get to dirty air and that second place car has a chance to catch him, you ain't going to have a damn race for the lead. Unless there are magically two lanes or magically another lane that all of a sudden gets faster on another sector of the track that the leader's not racing. It's not ever going to be competitive. So I would suggest in the future that the split would go 20 and 30. The first half is 20 laps. The second half is 30 laps. Because at 30 laps, you at least have an opportunity twice. If you get two cautions in a 30-lap event, at a big track like Knoxville, the leader might get to traffic again. Really, one can kill it. It takes about 7 to 12 laps, maybe even more than that, with, once again, equating the strength of this field. So it takes a long time for that leader to get to that traffic, and until that happens, the race is over. So if you have three cautions in that second 25 lapper, it's over. It don't matter. It don't matter. I'm sorry, guys. It don't matter. Air is that important in this sprint car game right now. It is that important. So that's kind of my takeaway from the Knoxville Nationals. I'm just some guy talking crap. Let's see if we got some new comments down here. Robbie Price, that's a good one. Jacob Allen will be back next year after his break. It's a chance for Tanner to show off to other owners. That's what's being reported here by Jordan, ladies and gentlemen. Robbie Price will be on the West Coast too. Love that guy. And he's a Skagit boy for sure. Never know. Bobby Allen would not put Tanner in the seat if he didn't think he was more than capable of being competitive. I think that's very true. Paul never said he wouldn't be competitive, but Allen is not paying 1 cent to run that car with Holmes in it. It looks like maybe we had an argument up here between Paul. You that gullible, they are paying for that ride. Same as Price says pays sides for his ride. He's not being hired. Oh, we got a developing story here live in the comments. Paul is accusing Tanner Holmes of paying for the ride like Robbie Price, bringing motors to the program. Chaz, did I miss the Jacob Allen news from the World of Outlaws on one of their platinum drivers? It's interesting. I'm interested to see how that all works out. I'm going to stay out of that chat room drama. We'll see. Nobody will admit it. If Tanner Holmes is paying for that ride, ain't nobody going to admit it. And if they do, that's bad. That's a bad thing. Somebody needs to be slapped on the wrist. Dustin Miller says, are you going to Jackson? I'm thinking about going to Jackson right now. Obviously, I have issues sort of at Huset's with some people involved, so I want to go to Huset's. I'm planning on going to Huset's and just walking through the gauntlet, but I just hate having bad eyes on the back of my head and being in certain people's playpen if they don't like me. So I don't know. I don't feel. I mean, I feel safe. I mean, I'm not scared, but I feel like there are some issues that I don't have to support. That's the problem with these two individual events. So I just don't like certain situations being how they are right now. But I feel like I might go. I'm pretty sure I will. I'm trying personally to put it behind me because I know other people won't put it behind them. So I'm trying to just swallow the egg and go. Somebody said stay out of the porta potties at Huset's. I know there was some complaints about that at the Huset's High Banks Nationals. Personally saw it myself, but I don't think that is going to be an issue at this Huset's high limit race. I mean, it was a lot of people for a bunch of days, and I mean, things can get out of hand. I don't blame them. The worst thing about Knoxville is that winning the feature races don't mean nothing compared to what they should. I guess that means on a weekly event basis. Because a lot of people, I'm thinking he may be on the qualifying nights. I still think that there's only so many ways that you can line this Knoxville Nationals up. People bitching about this 8-car invert. Kiss my ass, okay? You bitching about this 8-car invert. I don't care. I don't care if you're in the team and you don't know what you're talking about and it's dangerous. And yeah, stupid people that wrecked Justin Sanders in hot laps the other day. Some of you shouldn't be on the racetrack. But to be within that 8-car invert, you got to be somewhat good. You got to be pretty. You got to be okay. And it makes these guys put on a show for the fans that run the show. And I still don't know how people don't understand this. Fans are the ones buying the streaming. Fans are the ones buying the tickets. I know there's a lot of money in these race cars, but you wouldn't even buy or have these race cars and race them if there wasn't any money to race for, and the money to race for is based on the fans providing the money. Now, there's sponsors, and that's the, tinkling bottom end of capitalism if we're completely dependent on sponsors because it's not a system. It's falsities, it's inflation, and it's just sponsors paying for all the bills. But fans paying for the payout is something that kind of got ruined back in the day. That's why they started making backgate monies instead of backgate events instead of frontgate events, because they lost fans that were paying the bills. So that's why the South has 10 or 15 classes every damn night, because they ain't got no fans on the front straightaway. They're paying all the bills with pit passes. So if we want to go to that, I mean, I would suggest not to. I would suggest that we put on badass formats or formats that make people perform and put on a show, because I thought the Hard Knocks night was absolutely boring with the 4-car invert. It was a snooze fest in the heat races. In comparison to the Wednesday and Thursday night heat races, I had to watch them because they meant a lot, because I knew that the guy starting in 8th and the guy starting in 7th, I'm watching to see how good they do, because if they don't perform right now, their entire Knoxville Nationals might be in jeopardy. They may not be able to keep up with Kyle and this guy or that guy. These heat races matter that much. They got to get into the A-main against a stacked-ass 4 rows there. Stacked-ass 4 rows. Some of them people are just a little off, and they're starting 2nd or 3rd or 4th. Brian Brown's starting up in there. They're stacked. So those are must-see events early in the night. And that's one thing that I think the typical outlaw format is killing. And that some of you people don't understand. My argument's always been, people are like, how can you format a sprint car race to put on television or anything nationally broadcasted, because everything's just so boring and all you have is a 5-minute race. It's supposed to be more so that those heat races are meaningful events. Those are must-see events, that everything throughout the night, from qualifying to your main event, is meaningful racing action. That if you don't watch it, something impactful might happen and you're going to miss it. It's why they watch football, because at any given moment, a guy can throw a touchdown and the game is changed. Of course, more people tune in in the fourth quarter, but in the first, second, and thirds, little bitty one play making situations can change the entire game. So it keeps the attention of people because things can swing so fast and the important things are happening at every given moment. So 8-car inverts and more inversions and heat races and making heat races great again is very important for the growth of the sport. And if you don't get that, I don't understand why. Very important for the growth of the sport. I mean, there's no way around it. And anybody who wants to complain about that, if you think the outlaw format, where these heat races are 5-minute parades or 2-minute, they got to brag about the lap times at these outlaw heat races. They have to brag about lap times and how long the race lasted. That race was completed in 1 minute and 47 seconds. Wow. Oh my God. There's a reason I don't care if a top fuel vehicle goes down the strip in three seconds. Because I just don't see that as racing. I see that as competitive. I see that as performance. I see that as cool, but that ain't racing. I'm telling you right now, ever since Larson went over that late model world, you got a lot of sprint car fans turning into late model fans right now. I was at Knoxville. I talked to this one dude 2 years ago. I was arguing to him about how good late models actually were. You need to check it out. And now he's like, God, man, New Zealander, freaking New Zealander. Doesn't even like anything with the fender. New Zealanders, hardcore sprint car fans, they have almost switched to late models because of the racing. They're actually racing. And you get these World of Outlaw formats, they're parades, man. I'm sorry. They're parades. And I get it. It's your little businesses and your business and protecting your assets that are on the line when you do an 8-car invert and you may have to pass a slow car that doesn't really hold his line perfectly every time you're next to him. But welcome to putting on a damn show. You used to do it. But anyways, I mean, I'm just saying. I think inverts need to be a staple in the sport. And maybe in this upcoming potential battle of the national sprint car scene, because people didn't want to play nice, their brand that's based on the fans that built it. Maybe now that this is a situation, we may have both sides play with some, we may have both sides play with formats, trying to outdo the other and get the more fan attention. We may have a WWE versus WCW situation coming up here very soon in the national landscape of sprint car racing. And sometimes that can help. The biggest promoter of Trump was Hillary, talking shit about him. The biggest promoter of Hillary was Trump. The biggest promoter of Stone Cold is Triple H, and vice versa. Talking shit to one another. I was involved in a situation like that at Knoxville, but if you're not in on the joke, you lose your damn mind and you're knocking teeth out. Can't believe it. Anyway, we got somebody saying here something about Chase Randall. Can we please talk about how freaking impressive Chase Randall is at 18 years old? And if it wasn't for a flat, he definitely had the car to get on the podium. He's going places. Yeah, I mean, Chase Randall's good. He's in a developmental stage. He's done a lot. He's done a lot of USAC midgets. I believe he's done some USAC sprint cars before, once or twice. I'm not sure, not 100%. But he's done USAC sprint cars. He's from Texas, so that means he's professed on being able to work the throttle on those slick tracks down there. He's got a year under his belt at Knoxville and Huset. Opportunities in race cars in the Midwest, possibly giving a new spark to the Midwest. I'm really impressed also in the same light as with Garrett Williamson, which I believe is a name that I did not see on the high limit list. Let me make sure of that one more time. Let me see. I don't think so. So Garrett Williamson was obviously it looked like the 24 car just wrecked out of equipment. Because he had that big race at the big wreck at the 360 Nationals. Garrett Williamson we're talking about right now. And he just got thrown into a 6 machine and almost won the qualifying night. Had some contact with Carson Macedo. And then finished okay on Saturday. But if your qualifying night goes wrong in any kind of way, you're pretty much SOL for your overall finish. Come Saturday. I mean, it does take a guy like a David Gravel to really bounce back from a bad qualifying night. But regardless, it does not look like Garrett Williamson is on the list in any way. I'll tell you what, if anybody's got a backup car, roll one out, because Garrett Williamson could win this Huset's High Banks race at Huset's tomorrow. He's a hell of a wheel, just like in the same category as a Chase Randall. Sorry, we're pulling y'all over right here. Sorry. But Chase Randall is extremely impressive. He's a potential winner, honestly, tomorrow night at Huset's. I mean, Chase Randall has experience at Huset's this year, won multiple times. So I'm thinking he's a points leader, or he's got to be within the points battle. I didn't look at it real quick. The Huset's 410 points. Let me go look at that just real quick. I believe HusetSpeedway.com has their points locked and ready on their website. Let's see here. Chase Randall currently sitting third in points. Only 12 points behind Brooke Tatnall, who is the leader, and Mark Dobmeyer in second. So Chase Randall somewhat in a championship battle at Huset's this year. So that's interesting. Let's see, they got a view full points. I believe Chase Randall has 3 wins. Yes, Chase Randall does have 3 wins on the year, sitting in third in the Huset Speedway Weekly Track Championship. Cressman Sanitation, 410 Outlaw Sprint Cars. That's their one of their supporting sponsors of the 410 racing division up there. Big supporter of all kind of racing, that Cressman Sanitation up there in the South Dakota region. Let's see. Agreed. Randall is solid. Randall is pretty quick when he is not right rearing people. Chase Randall and Corey Day have both been stellar. I would say Chase Randall and Corey Day are very comparable. The only issue or difference I believe there is between a Chase Randall and a Corey Day is that Corey Day came from racing with sharks. That aggression level. I mean, and it's a crazy aggression level. Now, Chase Randall went into the midget divisions of America, and you do get that level. You might get a little bit, you get, I'm just going to say it right now, you get stupid aggression in USAC midgets. You get stupid aggression. I'm watching these USAC midget races sometimes. That Avedisian will throw some dirty moves, and it's like if that was a guy, there would be a fight in the pitting area. You know, that's what I see sometimes. I'm just saying, that's just I see some dirty things from a couple people out there, but I've seen some, and I'm not just putting it on Avedisian. I'm not just putting it on Avedisian. Obviously, this is midget racing in general. We see this in midget racing in general, and it's probably these adults that showed her the wrong way of doing things, you know, with her watching it. And there's a bunch of them. I should even said Avedisian to start the damn deal. It's so overly aggressive in the midget scene right now. In the midget scene. It's just overly aggressive. People are willing to jump people's crap every single night. Racing with no respect. There's a lot of people that agree with that. Opinion on Bobby Pierce on Saturday night. Didn't get to see all of it, but Bobby Pierce is just a bad son of a jamma, and he's in a Longhorn. And I knew when Bobby Pierce was going to get into a damn Longhorn chassis, it's over. And talking to Bobby Pierce and a couple of his people, they couldn't believe how far behind they were from the other chassis manufacturers. Of course, Bobby Pierce always ran Pierce race cars his entire life. And this is the first year he actually went under a corporate entity in chassis manufacturers of the dirt late model, super dirt late model racing world, that is. So what Bobby Pierce is doing right now does not surprise me at all. At all. Now, the one thing that the late model world does have is they got 25 Kyle Larsons. That's the one thing the late model has, is 25, 30 Kyle Larsons. The guy who won the B-Main tonight could win the 100,000 tomorrow. And it's just that stacked from the top to the bottom. Most technical form of racing in the world, F1. Well, if F1's number 1, dirt late model racing is number 2. And as far as competition, I don't give a fuck about your technicalities. I'm talking about as far as depth and competition and difficulty of field, strength of field for some of the sim racers out there, the strength of field in the world of motorsports, there is nothing higher in the strength of field category in the world of racing than super dirt late model racing. Nothing else is higher. Nothing. at all, period. Nothing. And for Bobby Pierce to do what he's doing, Ricky Thornton Jr., who's probably more of a Cinderella story than Kyle Larson, coming, working on his own shit since he was a kid, putting a damn modified on a flatbed from Arizona, driving to the Dakotas, and has built everything he has today from that point, from a flatbed. And obviously Bobby Pierce has had a little bit of an easier route in getting introduced to racing in a somewhat of a royalty fashion. But I'll tell you, what Bobby Pierce is doing is very special, and Bobby Pierce versus Ricky Thornton Jr. this year, everybody's waiting on it. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. We're consistently sitting here at about 242 viewers, which is very good right now. I wish we had some more talking points here. Do you think Knoxville keeps selling out and the demand keeps rising? Do they expand the seating on the backstretch or turn 4, possibly add higher rows on the backstretch? They should. I think that a really good plan for Knoxville, and there, you could put more stands. It is uncomfortably packed in the grandstands. Let's just say it. It's almost like Chili Bowl. It's uncomfortable to sit in the stands. You are ass to ass. And maybe if I am feeling a little under the weather right now, it's because some drunk, breathed on me all night or something. Luckily, I was close to an aisle seat. But it needs to expand. Obviously, there's people who want to buy more tickets, but do you justify expanding the seating for one event of the year? Because it's the only event that does that. Obviously, when you're a county fairground, you could potentially get grants to do something similar. I know I've heard that Port Royal, one of the ways they improved their facility so fast was through grant money. And I'm sure that Knoxville is, the Marion County Fairgrounds is mixed in with some kind of assistance through government funding. I would have to assume that because it's a fairground facility. Could they justify the means, though, to do that for one race of the year and make it comfortable and make it fun? And because the Knoxville Nationals, World 100, few of these events out there in the country could feel close to a Bristol-esque style stadium. You could get close. Now, does that really make any logistics, though? So that's one of the infrastructure situations that I had to realize when I went to the NHRA in Gainesville this year. The NHRA in Gainesville sits 30,000 people. You understand here? 30,000, which was more than the Knoxville Nationals, I believe. But Knoxville, Eldora, these are some of the only facilities in the country that can hold 30,000 people. I was in traffic for 2.5 hours to get into this Gainesville NHRA track. And I'm sitting there like, what racetrack in the country even has the ability to hold 30,000 people? The infrastructure, the parking, the bathrooms, the concessions. Who has the infrastructure to even withstand this amount of people? If they even wanted to attend the event. So in the situation that they would expand the grandstands to, receive more people, you would have to worry about everything else that you would have to bring in to withstand those new people. You'd have to build another set of restrooms, another set of concessions. You'd have to find out more parking solutions. The town's almost dead, packed with how it is right now, and then it's dead the next day with nobody around. So there's a lot to consider with the infrastructure of this sport as well. As much as I want it to grow, there would have to be some emergency infrastructure built, some land purchased, and a lot of things to happen if that popularity was to immediately soar. How many tracks in America logistically hold 10 to 15,000 people right now? Let's just say 15,000. Let's say 20,000 people all of a sudden wanted to go to every single racetrack. What? Who? Where? How? The infrastructure is too far behind. You only got a handful in PA. Got Knoxville. Huset could maybe hold it. Maybe. Here, Todd and them are going to do some great things with expanding their stands, or possibly, I'd like to see it be a mini Bristol. He has visions for doing a lot of things with that racetrack, I'm sure. But infrastructure is the biggest issue with the sport right now. Let's see here. Go have another Bud Light, Paul. Paul is really stirring him up. How do you think Kyle Larson will do at Indy? I think Kyle Larson's going to win the Indy 500, probably the second year. I think Kyle Larson will win the Indy 500. And the reason I say that is because these people ain't ready for the cream of the crop from the dirt track racing world. They're just not ready. Kyle Larson is a freak of damn nature. They don't project that when he's winning a damn sprint car race. You know, they don't say it that way, but he's just, when you come out of this dirt track racing world, buddy, you've been through the gauntlet of the baddest race car drivers in the world, and if you could keep up with these dirt guys at the top echelons of their sport, you could kick anybody's ass in the world, because you're coming to get, you're in my opinion, competition-wise, when Kyle goes to Cup or Indy 500s or even F1, you're going down in competitiveness. You're going down a couple of steps. I'm not talking about how much you get paid or how much you're on TV. I'm talking about the difficulty of the strength of fields. You go down when you go to Indy 500. You go down when you go to Cup. Because the talent is siphoned through a very interesting money wall. They ain't picking the home run hitters. They're picking their silver spoon-fed, farm-raised fish, and Kyle Larson's come from the land of sharks. He eats them up. And that's what I think. So I think Kyle Larson will win the Indy 500. Might win both of them. Because, once again, it is a two-race deal. Kyle Larson is racing for 2 years in a row. Source is the World of Outlaw pit scene. Oh, this Paul guy. Does he have a Twitter? This guy could definitely have somebody trying to dox him. I love Tanner. He's a solid 100% kid. No one is going to finance his ride except his family. Amazing how obtuse you guys are about funding. Pretty hysterical, actually. Life must be easy being stupid. The only thing I would say about this Paul Root is, let's say that Jacob Allen just don't want to race. You know, let's just say he wants to take the rest of the year off. I mean, if you're Shark Racing, I think if you bring in a Tanner free of charge, you're going to make money, because it's going to bring an amazing amount of attention to the situation, because he's one of the most popular race car drivers in the pitting area. The merchandise sales, I'm sure you're doing a decent cut with him in that, your merchandise sales is about to skyrocket. Your popularity is going to get even bigger than you ever thought it could. I see this as an even trade. I could see if you're charging like a no-name to come drive the car. Not saying like a no-name, but just I'm not a no-name. But if you're just taking like a unknown kind of guy who's regional and local, and apparently this Paul Root named Robbie Price. I've heard about the side situation. I don't really know 100%, but it sounds like there's some trick for trades in there. But I see Tanner Holmes going to the Shark Racing as a fair trade for both sides. I see that as a fair trade. And I'm talking about on the business aspect of the trade. So I just don't know if that's 100% fact. As much as you're trying to say, Paul, you see it as making sense. I really don't, because I see Tanner Holmes bringing a lot to the table in that scenario. A lot to the table. I know that Shark Racing is bringing a national sprint car racing team, but Tanner Holmes is bringing a national scene, a national prowess to the team. It's Kyle Larson and Tanner Holmes, longest lines in the fucking pitting areas, guys. And there's something to that, and Shark Racing likes to be a part of that as well, I'm assuming. Anyway, what happens if rumors are true that the High Limit and All-Star Circuit of Champions merge? How does 2024 look for that series? Points money more than World of Outlaws. Benefits better than World of Outlaws. I'm hearing Brad Sweet's done after this year. Oh, wait. Nobody said Brad Sweet's done after this year in the comments. I'm sorry. I thought I read that. Brad Sweet was done in the comments. Brad Sweet's done in the I swear I saw that comment where somebody said Brad's official. Rumor is that Brad Sweet's done after this year. No more World of Outlaws. Anyways, I thought I saw that comment. What happens if rumors are true and High Limit and the All-Star Circuit of Champions merge? How does 2024 look for that series? Points money more than World of Outlaws. Benefits better than World of Outlaws. I don't know. I really don't. It could get bloody. It could get nasty. I don't know. I hear there's a lot of things going to move. A lot of things going to move. A lot of things going to change. If you like the late model world, you might want to like it in the sprint car world as well. I hope it becomes more of a WWE versus WCW situation. Personally, I hope that's what it turns into, and it expands the sport and it grows it. But I feel sorry for the structure that could have been held, you know, without the arrogance. The ego that runs this fucking sport destroyed it. You know, in this scenario, the ego destroyed the sport. And this whole damn sport's about ego. I want to win this race. Drivers wanting to win races. Car owners wanting to win races. Sponsors wanting to win races. It's all about me, the ego. We all have ego. It's good sometimes, but it also can self-destruct. And when you play daddy with grown men, when you try to treat these grown men and organizations and businessmen like your little bitch, that you do what I tell you, we'll let you off the leash just a little bit, and you start pushing these fucking real guys out here, you can have this type of situation happen. I hope it doesn't, but rumors are rumors, buddy. Rumors are rumors. Rumor is I was getting around with this girl last week and blah, 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 and I was just sitting on the couch watching TV. That's the truth. That's the truth. I think Huset's High Bank set up with having to run 3 nights to set up for 1 night. Okay. Guys, good night. Troy, Jordan, enjoy being heard as usual. No problem, Paul. More people should come in here and leave some comments. We are about to shut her down. We'll close it off here at the 10:30, 11:30 Eastern segment. I hate to do it with 234 people. Thank you for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe button. I would love to have 234 people. Have y'all come on here, comment. We go at it. The guy who was calling me earlier was named JP or something like that. If that's the same JP from Kyle Larson, I would love to have you on the show, man. I would love to have some debates and conversations with JP, which is, I guess, Kyle Larson's best friend for life or something like that. I'd love to have these the talks with those guys. I'm not scared of your opinion or any of you people, but I just want to have it set up. Well, let's set something up. You people from Kyle Larson's camp, you people, you want to come in here and charge me up, or maybe you want to discuss some things. If you want to play that game, come on. I ain't scared of you. Because I got some facts. I got some knowledge. I could be right. I could be wrong. I got an opinion though, and you ain't gonna shut me up from saying it. No matter how much you try to shame me and make me feel bad, I can't believe you would do that. People, you ain't going to shy me away from expressing my opinion. I joke sometimes. Some of y'all people, you take your jokes a little too damn serious. I'll tell you that much. You take the jokes a little too serious. You get too flustered. Everything's so damn important. Just calm the fuck down. It's all okay. It's just words, guys. It's just words, just opinions, free thought. Don't you want to have free thought? Don't you want to reserve that right? If you disagree with somebody, you still want to have the right to express what you feel and think without persecution? Well, then you should stand up for my ability to express it. And you can express it with me. I don't care. So if that was JP from Kyle Larson's camp that called earlier, all y'all subscribe. We'll try to set that up. We'll have their buddies come on here, and you'll just have JP and Kyle try to shame me for hours and call me stupid. All these people who are from bigger money I'm a business. I got all this money. I know more than you just because I have money. My opinion's more valid than you because I have money or status or clout, or I own this or I own this or I have that. That's all they're going to say. But I don't have anything super valuable but a voice and an opinion. And that's why theirs is, because they have the possessions, theirs is more valuable than mine. So all they're going to do is come in here and shame. They're not going to come in here with any respect. None of these people got respect. Kidding me? I got an opinion. I may say it sometimes in a disrespectful way, but at least I believe it. Some of these other people are just coming in with spite, angst, narcissistic tendencies. Light 360 says you're in Decorah, Iowa. No, I'm not. I'm not in Decorah. Brad Sweet is done with the World of Outlaws after this year. I've heard that. Is the ring back on the finger? Somebody said, great show, Chaz. How good is Kyle Larson? Kyle Larson is one of the greatest race car drivers the world has ever seen. I just think that there's some damn good race car drivers that the world's never even got to see, because they didn't have the money to be placed on the same stage that Kyle Larson gets to dance on. That's the fucking fact of the matter, buddy. Fact of the matter. We'll see USA NSL. Oh, I don't think that's going to happen. But I don't think NSL is the same as USA. You may see a USA situation. We will see. Tanner has won 14 heat races against the Outlaws. Okay, anyway. Larson cheated at Kokomo with a private track practice session on Thursday. The race, I have the pictures to prove it. Wow. Somebody is ready to narc. Thoughts on Donnie's shot, staying in the 15 car or going to the 11 that Corey Eliason drives currently? Oh, I thought I saw that comment. He's going to the 11? Who said that? Donnie Schatz is going to the 11 that Eliason's in? That's not happening. Thoughts on Donnie staying in the 15 car? I think it would be great. I think it would be awesome. I know that Dodge is doing stuff with Tony. I know there's been a lot of work in this Ford program, but I say we just switch it up. Fucking put Donnie in a throwback Mopar scheme. And I'm telling you right now, if you put a 15, took the M off the old Mark Kinzer scheme from the World of Outlaws 2002 video game, and you did a 15 throwback scheme, and we just go from Ford Performance to Dodge and Mopar, that would be badass. That would be cool. I would buy that. I would buy that t-shirt. Let's sell some shirts, guys, because that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Dodge engine program with Donnie. Money. Money, buddy. I'm telling you. Mopar power. We'll do a damn cutout of Donnie with that Mopar. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Just speculate. That'd be cool, though. The Ford ain't served him well. I don't give a damn when anybody says, Donnie Schatz was Donnie Schatz, dominating everything you fucking seen, and then all of a sudden they slapped a blue oval on that shit, and Donnie Schatz wasn't Donnie Schatz anymore. I'm sorry. I still stand by that. That's just what I saw. I'm sorry. Somebody said that's not cheating, and yeah, when that guy said that's not cheating, test session, it's not. Technically, it is pretty sad, though. Why does Kyle Larson need track time? He's supposed to be this goat that just jumps in cars and goes, right? I thought that's why he was so badass. I don't know. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to get away from y'all with all these viewers tuning in. Thanks for tuning in a lot. We may do a lot more of these coming up soon. I don't know if we'll have the same setting in the background, but we will see. Hopefully, y'all been paying attention to the sponsors at the top left of the screen, and y'all go check some of them out. If you do have a sprint car operation on the West Coast, check out WRAYVON. I don't know if y'all seen that sticker up on the left side, top left side. Check out WRAYVON. They got some really good deals on sprint car parts, and you can actually, I believe, ship across the country. So if you're a sprint car team, you want premium parts at a premium price, go to rayvon.com, and then rayvon.com. Really good situation there as well. So, anyways, thanks for tuning in. Thanks, George, for the comment. Great show. And it really was. I put a lot out there. People are going to be mad at me. I'm probably going to go to Huset tomorrow. And there's going to be this guy motherfucking me. I'm going to be walking down the pits, and that guy's going to motherfuck me. And then this guy's going to come up and say he's going to knock my fucking teeth out. I almost got pushed past the edge at Knoxville hearing the same type of shit. So that's just the price to pay to come on here and say what I think. I have to deal with this. I have to go through the gauntlet every single week of walking the pitting areas and getting motherfucked left and right by car owners, sponsors, this guy, that guy, blah, blah, blah. And one day they're going to hit me and knock my teeth out and then buy me a new pair of teeth. So that's fucking fine. I've been hit before in the mouth myself. I don't care. Just knock me the fuck out and get over with it. Because I've been hearing people going to knock me out for fucking 5 years now. Somebody just fucking do it then. Because right now you're all just fucking running your mouths. But anyways, that's what I got to say. Anyways, hopefully everybody's just nice, respects freedom of speech. I mean, everybody goes up there and they bow their heads and they fucking pray and then they stand up and salute the national fucking anthem that all these soldiers died for my freedom to sit here and say whatever the fuck I want. But when it comes down to saying something you don't like, all of a sudden you're a Nazi and you're going to take away that freedom of speech. You're going to execute your authority on that freedom. You're going to try to revoke my freedom of speech. Interesting how y'all operate. It's only benefiting you when it benefits you. Thanks, David. Oh, we got a comment from David Gravel. Look at that. David actually came in and said, the hair is badass. David jumped in. Thank you, David. I'm really trying. Fluff it up. David Gravel can't be at the high limit race tomorrow, guys. I didn't see him on the entry list. Maybe Gravel David could show up. If David Gravel would get his hair done like this or get a wig, he could go and race high limit under another name like Tony Stewart did. Smoke Johnson, NASCAR said no. Will I be there, he says. Will I be there? Who knows? David Gravel, he might be down there in Florida with the palm trees. Oh, Grave Davil. Grave Davil will be there. Oh, is this one of those deals like Kyle Larson did with the Outlaws where he told Baps, I'm going to be there? Why'd you promote me? Where he didn't want the Outlaws to promote he was going to be there so they can get fans and attention based on his name. Is this what y'all are doing here, David? Where you're not going to tell High Limit that you're coming, not letting them know that you're coming so that they can't promote your name as you're coming and make money, even though it's the Huset's car and that would still make Huset's money, I think somehow, unless it's a rent-a-track event. I'm not sure. I know they have like 3 different price plans on this High Limit deal. Kyle Larson, David Gravel, we were just about to shut it down and Gravel starts hitting the comment button. I can't believe this shit. So Tanner Holmes ran at Huset Speedway twice and ran 7th and 4th. But now he's in that shark car. And I'll tell you what, that shark car hooks up sometimes when other cars don't. Tell you that much. Hey, Chaz, I think David can pass, eh? I think he can. I never said he couldn't. People always said David Gravel can't pass in traffic. I saw that comment so many times. Why don't you speak about how David Gravel can't pass if he don't start up front? He can't win. I never said that. I picked the sumbitch when he was starting 22nd. Y'all are the ones out there complaining. Is Gravel going to Huset's? If so, I am going. If not, then I am out. The power of David Gravel, ladies and gentlemen. Kyle thinks he's the only guy. Or Lau. I'll just start saying Lau Larson. Instead of Kyle, I'll just start saying Lau. No respect. If Kyle believes in his head that people go to the track for him, and I do believe the High Limit Sprint Car Series, these people are sometimes just paying $40 to get a picture and meet and greet Kyle Larson. Some of them are. That's why the fans are there. They want a meet and greet session with Kyle Larson. They know if they go to a High Limit Series event that Kyle will stay after the race and they will get that autograph and they will get that picture taken. They're paying $40 to get a picture with Kyle Larson. But I'm under the belief that this David Gravel will potentially be in there as well. He might be in that same substance. I told David, I said, let's put on a race, David Gravel Showdown. I got direct options into streaming, not XR. I don't associate with XR really anymore at all, actually. I got a whole nother setup. I actually got 2 setups for streaming operations. I'm really close to putting on a show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really close to putting on me an actual show. Whether I can get David Gravel to want to do an event or this guy or Donnie Shot Showdown or whatever. I do have a couple of guys who are very interested. They ain't in the sprint car world. They're in the late model world. We're getting close, real close. The Chaz is going to put on a show. It's coming. It's coming. And when it does, it's going to be good. But I believe there is star power in Gravels and star power in Shots. The guy right there said, if Gravel's at Huset's, I'm going. If he ain't, I ain't. That's power right there. That's what most people believe is the only power that Kyle Larson has. And I think that affects their own personal confidence. I believe that David Gravel has the confidence to believe that he is better than a Kyle Larson, and that's why he could cover 22nd to 2nd and be chopping his ass down. But unfortunately, it's only 25 laps in that later half of the race, and you ain't gonna get to the fucking dirty air. Larson ain't gonna get to dirty air in time. It ain't no time. David Gravel says, will Tanner Holmes win a World of Outlaw race this year? I think in that 1A car, buddy, when they do this West Coast swing, he's got some 410 experience now, David. He's going to be coming. He's got some 410 experience. It's a good car. We will help Florida dirt racing someday, David Gravel says. It needs a lot of help. Unfortunately, right now, Florida dirt racing is February. Now, we do have a couple plans on some Florida dirt races. Is David Gravel going to be a part of that? We will see. Everybody whining about the cone. I heard about this cone. I didn't make a video on it. Had several messages about this cone. And I went to the replay and I looked at the last restart. I didn't see it, but you explain it to me. I'm reading it right now live. Everyone whining about the cone. If they wanted to, they could have thrown the caution out and put me back 2 spots, but it didn't happen. Everyone move on. Now, David Gravel is a part of the privileged few, ladies and gentlemen. That's what he's basically saying. I'm privileged. If it was Kyle Larson, it was Donnie Schatz, if it was Logan Schuchart, or anybody putting on a fucking show, they're going to treat us guys out here putting on a fucking show a little bit different. It's almost like the provisional spot. Basically, they gave him a provisional, a promoter's choice, when they didn't throw the caution and put him back 2 spots. He's on that privileged level. He's an outlaw. He kicked for 22nd. He's trying to track Larson down. Everybody in the building knows the only car that could potentially pass Kyle Larson is David Gravel. In fact, I would want to walk up to that race director and shake his damn hand and say thank you. You, whoever didn't put David Gravel back 2 spots, recognized that the sprint car world was about to be embarrassed if Kyle Larson just dominates this Knoxville Raceway event. We need David Gravel to maybe potentially, and we need to help him as much as we can to get him up there and pass. So it is being admitted live here on Facebook that that David did hit the cone. They could have thrown the caution and put him back 2 spots, but it didn't happen. Everyone move on. And from my understanding, it's coming across to me like, okay, the race director knew the only guy who was going to have a shot at running down Kyle Larson was David Gravel. And the race director apparently kind of halfway understands that you can't fuck that momentum up. You gotta give David a little bit of a pass here if we want to see somebody besides Kyle Larson win our big event on our big giant stage. So this is the only time I support unfairness in racing. I'm halfway being sarcastic. I do think it's bullshit, David. They should have put you back. I believe in fair. I do believe in fair. If you did hit the cone, you should have been put 2 spots back. But have you ever heard that real good pop song where I think it's Pink, where she's like, turning my cheek for the sake of the show? That's what they did right there. For the sake of the show, they turned their cheek to that cone being hit for the sake of the potential show that David Gravel was going to pass Kyle Larson's ass. And that's what they did. They made a promoter's choice. Spike Fast has entered the building. We haven't had one super chat. We've had 290 live viewers this entire time, and we haven't had one super chat. I don't believe we have we? No supers. You see that? Supers will be highlighted. None. I've worked for, let's see. I've worked here talking for 1 hour and 47 minutes. And we ain't had one super chat. Not one. That's bad. That's bad. 2 hours for free, ladies and gentlemen. But it's okay. I enjoy entertaining. I enjoy talking. Status creates wealth, eventually. Hopefully, that's the plan. David Gravel says it needs a lot of help, the Florida dirt racing. We had Spike Fast Racing come in here. The cone incident was ignored in order to create the show. That what it was basically saying. That Gravel, the amateur driver, could beat the Messiah and savior dirt track racing, Kyle Larson. And in the end, the amateur was defied. Oh, my God. Kyle Larson would have lapped the whole field eventually. Everyone else is a child in comparison to the masculine messiah known as Kyle Larson. Somebody said fake Gravel account. Maybe I will make a cone shirt. Stay tuned. Honestly, David, I think they were trying to pay you back or give you something back for hitting the damn gate. The wall coming open at Huset's last year. I really think that's it. I really think that's the situation. Everybody remembers where he had a chance at winning the Huset's High Bank Nationals the initial year, and the damn gate flew up open and hit him. So maybe they were trying. That was like a pay it forward for you, David. And I still believe that he should have made a shirt that had something to do with hitting that damn thing, because that's still one of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen. David Gravel said, "I heard silly season is far from over. I hear that 11 car and the 15 car may look one of the same." David Gravel better cough up some of his damn money and show us that he is not an amateur living in a damn merch trailer. Oh my God. Spike Fast Racing with the hits. Spike Fast Racing always comes in with these freaking, with these really, really mean comments. Spike is always mean. He's always playing the villain. That's for sure. And he's got enough muscles on his body that it's easy to do so. That's why I carry around a selfie stick. But regardless, David Gravel, thanks for the super chat there, Spike. Obviously, YouTube takes 30%. So what does that mean? I have $17 coming my way, I believe, or something along those lines. Gravel made about 85K this week, I think. Spike Fast says the only silly season is that anyone thinks they can beat the Lord and Savior Kyle Larson. Oh my God, he's on his track now. I think when I put this hair on, things have changed. Cody Jacobs has multiple women chasing him after the TV interview last night. Well, I mean, that's possible. Cody Jacobs is, we got to say a super chat in the moment that Cody needed it. I didn't win the Nationals, so all I can afford is $2. Oh, my God. Oh, wow. Wow. Gravel is a disgrace. Oh, my God. Spike Fast Racing will get very, very mad at David Gravel. He really will. He really will. He will not hold back. He will let his ass have it. I'm telling you. Spike Fast is not like the one to play games with. Put that towards the hair products. That's perfect. That is perfect. Oh my God. What a fucking douche. Going to have to redo that every few months. No, I'm thinking once this goes out a little more, because my natural hair color is blonde. So you can already kind of see it. Well, it's kind of, wait, I'm backwards here. Can already kind of see the natural hair color coming back in. But I'm thinking we're going to let this bitch go out even more, and it's going to look like, you know how a fire is like blue and then yellow and then orange? I'm thinking we're going to let this bitch just go out another 4 or 5 inches, and we'll have this fucking flame thing going. And then I'll get like some really good like sticker stuff, like paste, and I'll just make these like giant ass horns, just big ones, huge ones. That way people can call me the devil, since I already was called Jesus at one point in my life. Isn't there a guy from Simpsons with a haircut? Oh my God, I don't know. From the Simpsons with that haircut, I'm not sure. Who just put $200? What are you talking about? $200? What's the conversation here? Do the drapes match the carpet? Asking for a friend. Vaylock Speed Shop right here with David Gravel with the 1-2 punch. Florida is here to just bank on the battle. And somebody said I'd pay you $100 to shave it down the middle right now. It already looks like it has a damn landing strip, guys. I'm not doing it. I'm not a whore. This isn't OnlyFans where you pay me money and I do it. You know, what the hell do y'all think I am here? This is not how this works. I sit here, we talk about stuff. You know, this isn't the other way. This isn't the Vegas, whorehouse deal. This isn't the Bunny Ranch where we talk for 30 minutes and then you give me some money and I do whatever you say. This is not OnlyFans. I'm not doing it. I like my hair how it is. It's entertaining. It's fun. The women be looking. The girlfriend's upset kind of in a way because we went to the fair today and the women were I was cracking necks on the women, guys. I was cracking some necks today. Really, really was. Looks like $320 now if you shave it. Guys, the final stages of capitalism is when you trade morals for money, okay? That's the end of the economic system that we live within right now. If you ain't noticed and looked around, a lot of people are doing a lot of things for the money and trading those morals. OnlyFans is like the hotbed for that type of topic. So, for me, I have to at least be the one speck of light at the end of the tunnel for the hope of the capitalism economic system. And I have to not trade the morals for the money. And I have to not sit here and say, just because you're going to give me $320, that I'm going to shave it down the center. Any of you with a fucking ounce of understanding and morals yourself would pay me $320 to not shave it down the middle. That's what should be going. That's what should be happening. Your morals went away when you let a Larson child beat you up at the Chili Bowl. That is a whole nother subject. Who gives a damn what little Owen hit me in the face a little bit? He turned around with the same damn bat and hit his dad right upside the forehead twice as hard. We got that on camera too. So if you want to talk about Owen Larson hitting me with a blow-up bat or whatever, I told him to hit his dad, hit him real hard, and he smacked the fucking shit out of him with that bat. So, Kyle Busch hates the Chaz. I know he hates the Chaz because I call it like it is. He don't like me. He's building his own little monarchy in NASCAR, and anyone who wants to stand up against that monarchy is horrible. How about a race sponsorship at Hendry? We got something in the works. We got something in the works, buddy. Hendry County is going to be a track we'll put on the map, maybe. Maybe. You know, we got to all play nice. But maybe having some Speed Week situations down there. Maybe have a Gummot series. Maybe I'm talking to Brian Carter, and me and him are going to work together to where we start a sub series that runs midweek. You know, and pays just as much as High Limit. Runs on the same High Limit. He's going to like backhand me some money and bankroll. And we're going to run races on the same night as High Limits just to fuck their shit up. You know, we're going to play decoy. You know, I may be doing that right now. You never know. You never know. Are you allowed at Pennsboro next year? I don't know. We'll see. Well, David Gravel says, when can we have a live debate with Dirt Tracker? I don't think we can do that. I don't think we can. I've tried a couple times. I even invited him to do a Stephen A. Smith deal today when he was on there crying about, you know, I make my content based on views and I don't know what to really put out because sometimes I say some stuff and it doesn't get views and I have to do what y'all want to watch, guys. I don't ever do that. So I don't know if that's possible. Like I may want to talk about something and put a badass fucking thumbnail together to get people to click it to watch it. But I'm never putting anything ever really out based on if I think people are going to watch it. I put things out to promote the things I'm talking about. You know, that when he was explaining that, I was kind of confused because I've never really done that way. I could see how those people do it. That's why there's a difference. Like it's a Don Lemon versus a Ben Shapiro. You know, these people, they push. It's like news headlines. This might get me. If I say something about this, it's going to get me views. Where I will create my own thoughts and stories. I will just not make them up, but I will talk about things that I think are interesting or should be talked about. And if you watch it, you do. If you don't watch it, you don't. Go fuck yourselves. And that's how I work. Maybe that's why I get less viewers. I got way more viewers on Facebook. I got a 20,000 following page on Facebook I can't even use right now. I've only been doing this YouTube thing for a year and a half. But when he was saying that, I was just so confused. You know, I don't go out and do Not a Power at Path Valley because I think viewers want to see 305s race in the middle of the mountains of Spring Run, Pennsylvania. No, I did that, or I do stuff like that because I want to do it and I want to show it off. I don't think I'm going to get 1 billion views going and talking about some guy building a motor in a damn shop, 410, him and his son. I don't think that's going to be bringing views. It's what I want to cover. It's what I want to promote. So I just think we look at it in different ways. You know, I see him reading off a teleprompter looking type deal. I don't know if it's just bullet points. I don't know how much those type people actually say what they think and feel. There ain't ever been anything scripted on my side of things except maybe music. Music lyrics have been scripted. I like think of them and make them. And that this is how we ride. This is how we do song. I wrote from the moment of somebody telling me, hey, you should make a song, to the moment it was done. So that means going out, finding a beat, listening to the beat, writing the lyrics, formulating the chorus, everything, all of it. The whole song was done in 3.5 hours. From looking for the beat, writing the lyrics, recording the music, mixing the music, done. 3.5 hours. Like it ain't this big formulated plan of, oh, we got to do this and we got to do that. I just do it. I don't think Dirt Tracker's like that. I'm out of here. Have to go pick up the orange cone from the hospital. Oh my God, David Gravel. Oh my God, the Chaz would make the Dirt Tracker his roadie. I don't know if that's the case. What did Spike say now? Larson's child is the undisciplined and disrespectful. And the Chaz should have whooped Kyle for being a passive daddy and letting his spawn attack a real man known as the Chaz. Oh my God. Whoa. Dusty just threw down the fucking gauntlet. I thought I was going to get off of here 30 minutes ago. I still got to take a piss. You coming to Skagit. I will take you crabbing if you come up. Now, what kind of crabbing? You talking about some kind of noodling? We doing some like lower class crabbing? Like where I gotta go wade in the water with a fucking shark and shit and dig into the dirt and I gotta snorkel and grab a crab? The hell you talking about? Crabbing. Or are we going on like some what is it? The freaking Deadliest Catch. Last time I was up there, I went on that damn bus with the Deadliest Catch guys with the stripper poles and shit. You know, so what kind of crabbing are we talking about? I ain't going to no Antarctic. People say I look like Leonardo DiCaprio as it is. I ain't going out in no boat in the middle of some cold water. You saw what happened to Leo last time. I seen Titanic. I seen it. And then the people trying to visit that shit almost died. Or they did. They got crushed like that can deal. So I don't understand. What are we talking about? Crabbing. Dusty. Dungy. I don't know what dungy means. Anyway. All right. Just past the 2-hour moment. We will go to the top of the hour. Remember I said we'll go 2 more minutes at the bottom of the hour. Please do, Hendry. Closest dirt track to my house. Closest dirt track to my house, Freedom Rider says. I'm interested in doing something. At Hendry. We got something working with the super late model show, possibly a sprint car show. We'll see. Chaz, were you the videographer for Gravel when his child was born? I think you two are that tight. No, we are not. Dirt Tracker is a baby. Dirt Tracker is one that if you don't agree with him, or if you don't agree with me, don't watch me. Definitely. He has his own crabs. Interesting. Let's see here. You are the man, David Gravel. I guess David Gravel has left. We're just under the 200 bar. I guess that means we need to close her up in 2 minutes, guys. Watch out. Might be squid swimming. Oh, that full noise. Squid are dangerous. I'm scared. I don't know if that's that David guy, this full noise. The dude from New Zealand I was hanging out with who's a big late model fan now. But I've got some horror stories about squid, guys. I don't ever want to fuck with the squid. I'm scared to death of squid. Spike Fast says Kyle Larson had a drone inside the cone and it moved into the path of David Gravel. Oh. So you're saying Kyle Larson had a drone in the cone and he put it so they had like Paul Silva was in the infield with a drone controller and like moved it into David Gravel because he knew he was coming. I could see Paul Silva pulling some shit like that. 2 more laps and Gravel is a 2-time national champion. I don't think it's that easy. Larson is badass. I'm sorry. Any more news on you going to Australia? I think we are going. This full noise guy's trying to say I need to go to Bathurst. Bathurst is the first week of October, guys. So I would do the West Coast Outlaw Swing and then leave from the San Jose, San Francisco area to Australia. I would be in Australia from October to December. I would then go to New Zealand from December to January, second week. Then I would go back to Australia in January for the big sprint car races from the middle to the end of the month. So we're talking about a 5-month trip to that side of the world. So that is what's on the table right now. And I just need a few more people to jump onto it. So you Australia, New Zealander people, if you want to jump on there and you want to support and you want to look into it and listen to it, and get me over there, I definitely need somewhere to stay. I have some opportunities potentially. I have a few already right now in Australia. The New Zealander situation's the issue because I can't stay in any of these countries for more than 90 days. So I have to be in Australia for Bathurst, first week of October. Then I would go do some regional dirt racing all the way until first weekend of December because I would be on the borderline of the 90 days. I'd then go to New Zealand for a month and a half, and then I would come back to Australia. And then from there, I would leave from Australia back to the Americas in February. And then potentially go to Arizona for some stuff or maybe drive all the way to Florida, which is probably what I would have to do for some dirt track racing. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, just past 11 o'clock. It is midnight on the East Coast. The numbers are going down. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. Konu Hoffman, you can go suck a dick. We will probably see you at Huset's. Probably see you at Jackson. The only question I have for myself now is, do I go down to Lucas Oil on Thursday for the XRX race? Do I go to Lucas Oil for the SRX race on Thursday with this hair? I don't know. We will see. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, nobody really sent a super chat except Spike and David Gravel. Thank you too for sending a super chat. And thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Share this around. Tell people it's a podcast if you want to. You can listen to this on your phone if you get YouTube Premium. Or you can just, like, if you're going down the road, you can just have the video playing while it's in your holster or whatever, and you can listen to it just like it's a podcast. Although listening to it on YouTube obviously just helps the channel grow more and more. That's why I have these shows only on YouTube, so it all stays in one spot and I'm growing one thing at a time. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. I'm not going to hide my view count on Spotify and all these podcast streams and lie to people and take their money. If you want to be a sponsor on the show, contact me. Or there's links in the description if you fill out any kind of PayPal or Venmo, anything like that, and you send some money. We'll put your name at the top left of the screen, and you'll be a supporter here of the show. Forgot to put the Velox back up there. I just got these things ticking back here once again. Although Velox, you ain't helped me in a minute. Just saying. Do I need to check in? Spike Fast doesn't need to check in all the time. That's what they say. They don't need to check in. You make sure these people give you money every now and then. I don't know. How do you think Tanner will do? I'm from Oregon, and the only person I can compare him to is Roger Crockett. Good comparison. Really fast driver. I think he'll do very well in this 1A. Tony needs the PR with XRX. We'll see. Full Noise, NZ, he says he will be at Huset's hopefully tomorrow. I don't really have anywhere to stay tomorrow or the following day. We will find out how that works out. We'll just go. If you go to Gold Cup, I'll buy you a beer or two. I was at the Glow Party last year. It was really fun. I might do this West Coast swing and then head off to Australia. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. It was fun. And we are just past the 2-hour mark. We will catch you next time. We'll see you at Huset's. Maybe Jackson. To infinity and beyond.
We can ride anywhere we need to go. We can ride all night up to the morning, as long as we make the show. We can be the best or we can be the worst, so we can be the best thing you ever heard. With the motor singing and the grandstands ringing, it's hard to put it all in words, but this is how we ride.